Hey, what's going on? It's 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Chrisma. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today is something that really anybody running any sort of business will want to master, and that's building your reputation. And now how you go about building that reputation sometimes eludes people, and they might even be going about it the wrong way. So what we're going to be talking about today are some essential steps you should be taking, especially if you're brand new. If you're brand new to real estate and you're wondering, well, how are people going to know that I'm good at real estate? How are people going to know to trust me about real estate? If that's where you are, if that's where you're thinking, this episode today is for you. So stick around. I'm John Chrisma. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor, where this week's topic is building your reputation. Building your reputation. Now let me just share you a little backstory on this here from the Tampa School of Real Estate perspective. Obviously you guys know who Tampa School of Real Estate is. You're watching our channel right now. You're at some level you ingest our content, and that's part of us building our reputation, but just a small portion of it. Because we've been working on building our reputation for many, many years, since we got started back in 2007. And really, even before that, building our own personal reputations as well. So it's a constant evolving process. But one of the things that's if you want to last long term, the number one thing is your genuinity, if that's the word, being genuine. So, especially when you're new, because, I mean, it's almost like something you'd see in a TV show where, you know, like somebody just has a real estate license and they're pretending like they've got all this experience and expertise and they know everything. You know, when you're first getting started, especially when you don't have any deals under your belt, I mean, there's a little bit to the whole fake it till you make it type of idea, but really the whole fake it till you make it is really more so about being confident, not necessarily just being fake, because that's not going to get you to last long term in most industries, but especially real estate. So being genuine is extremely important, because what that allows trust. Now, why is it important that your clients trust you? Well, all I've got to do is ask that question for you to get the gears turning of why that is so important. But probably the most important thing of why you'll want your clients to trust you is so that when you give them advice, they're not going to go against your advice. Or if they are going to go against your advice, they're going to think long and hard about it before doing so. Because in the role that we play as a brokerage, as a real estate agent, whatever you want to call it, we're really just the middleman. We're the messenger. So at the end of the day, we're just there to help our clients with their decisions, but not necessarily make the decisions for them. So if they don't trust us, if they don't have any level of trust or relationship with us, they're not going to be inclined to take our advice when they think otherwise. Now, why should they take our advice? Well, because we're the professional. Even just the fact of you having a real estate license puts you at an advantage compared to the consumer from the knowledge standpoint. We have a lot of people that take our class that they may want to practice real estate. They're not sure about it, but they definitely want to at least get additional knowledge. And one of the things that changes when you have a real estate license, really one of the only things that changes from an investment standpoint, is that you've got to disclose you have a real estate license when you are considering purchasing property. or selling property. Now, why are you required to disclose that you have a real estate license? Why does the Florida Real Estate Commission deem that necessary? Well, because you're assumed to have superior knowledge than the general public just by having a real estate license. So you've already got the general public beat just by having a real estate license, but now how about the other realtors and whatnot it is that you're competing with? Well, that's where I'm going to put number 2 up here. And it's knowledge and experience. Now, this is the thing that scares new agents the most, is knowledge and experience. Because when you're brand new, I mean, granted, you have that minimum amount of knowledge that the Florida Real Estate Commission requires that, again, does set you apart from the general public. So, again, just by the fact that you have a real estate license, you generally have superior knowledge compared to most of the general public. But is that enough? Is that enough to stand out amongst your competition? Probably not. So you absolutely want to be increasing your knowledge, but at the same time, you don't want this to get in the way of you being able to help and serve. Because you do not need to know everything to be a good real estate professional. You do not need to know everything to properly serve your clients. Why? Because it's impossible to know everything. Anybody that says they know everything is lying or just extremely ignorant. No one knows everything. There's a lot of unknowns out there that are yet to be proven. Really, this is a whole big experiment without us getting too deep down the rabbit hole of just us figuring out what works and what doesn't work. But at the same time, there are things that are tried and true that does work, that forms the foundation of a lot of businesses. And while you might have a good idea that you could try something out, what happens a lot of times with ideas is sometimes you've got a winner and it's right. But a lot of times, and it's just from the statistics and the probability of it, a lot of times our ideas aren't quite as great as we thought they were in our head, maybe when we see the real life implications with that, and that's okay. And that's why you want to try to gather experience and gather knowledge so you can be a better judge of what ideas, what experiments, what things are going to have the greatest impact and effect on your business. So that's going to come over time. At first, you're going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what is right or wrong. Even the simplest decisions can paralyze you because you're so worried about doing everything right. Look, we're all going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes probably every day. Maybe not huge mistakes, maybe not big mistakes, but in real estate, if you're doing your part of gathering the knowledge, and maybe you don't have experience yet. So again, I wanted to frame this for if you're maybe new to real estate. And so what can you do to combat these things? Well, the knowledge aspect of this. Yes, you passing your pre-licensing course and passing your exams get you the real estate license. And yes, that puts you in an advantage over the general public. But again, are you really in a situation where you're prepared to best serve your client? Is that minimum knowledge enough to serve your clients? And by law, it technically is. But if you want to build a lasting business, you don't want to blow up the momentum that you've generated by gaining your real estate license. Because nothing hurts worse than falling on your face. I mean, I don't know if you remember when you were little. I remember when I was little, I would get on bikes and skateboards and rollerblades and all these things that were dangerous. I wasn't the most athletic child either. So add that in that, and we would jump the things off of ramps and all these other things. Half the time I'd be falling down, probably more than half the time, scrape myself all up. I still got scars to this day. But a lot of times when you first fall, when you've never done that before, when you're just starting to figure something out and you fall, that could be terrifying. That could be scary. That could paralyze you. And so what you want to remember is that these mistakes are going to happen. And that's what leads me into number 3 here that's really important for building your reputation is your confidence. And the things I'm listing up here are maybe not always as obvious. Because you might have thought that I was going to say, oh, go get Zillow reviews. Go ask your friends for Zillow reviews. Okay, yeah, that helps, but that's just one aspect of your reputation. That's just one outlet's representation of your reputation. And yes, that can be valuable, But it's really hard to manipulate those systems of reviews and all the fact checkers and spam bots and all the other things like that. So if you think it might just be as easy as just having a bunch of your friends write some reviews, maybe that works, or maybe Zillow flags them all and deletes them all and it was a bunch of waste of time. And even if it wasn't a waste of time, okay, you having 5, 6, 7, 10 reviews on your Zillow profile, is that all of a sudden going to change your life and get all kinds of business flowing in? No, because that's just one avenue. That's just one channel, and people know reviews can be faked. I don't know how many times I've bought something on Amazon and they're like, hey, we'll give you free stuff if you go leave us a good review. So there's a grain of salt that people take when they see reviews. So just a couple reviews on some random website probably isn't enough just to convey the reputation. Now, there's a lot of things you can do to really establish a presence everywhere, but what really builds the reputation is the interactions you start to have with people. You could definitely fake it till you make it a lot on the marketing side of things of making yourself look good, but then when it comes down to actually being able to establish that trust with your clients, when it actually gets real, when it goes beyond the ads or the flyer or whatever that initial first contact is, how do you build that reputation with them? How do you really solidify things? And now when we frame this in this perspective here, okay, being genuine, so we can allow for trust, demonstrating our knowledge and experience. Now again, what if you're new? What if you're new and you don't have knowledge and experience yet? Well, who are you aligned with? Who are you teamed up with that has knowledge and experience? Because I bet you this, I bet you your broker has at least 2 years of experience in real estate. Why? Well, because you can't be a broker without at least 2 years of experience in real estate. So at the very least, you've got that, and your broker is there on your team. That's why the Florida Real Estate Commission has required you to register under a broker if you want to broker real estate. You can't do it independently because they don't trust you to do it independently. And that's why they don't just say, okay, well, if you take a bunch of these courses, then you don't need to have a broker. No, it's yes, you do have to take an additional course to become a broker, but you also need to have an experience requirement to become a broker. So every broker out there has at least 2 years of experience. They have some level of experience, and some of them have been doing it much, much longer than 2 years. So that experience, even though it's not yours, you can borrow that. You could speak in terms of your team, your organization, of all the people that you have, and even people that aren't necessarily just people at your brokerage. Are there lenders that you team up with? Is there a certain title company that you use? Who is the dream team that is there to basically make sure everything goes smoothly? And you're the coach. You're the person calling the plays, basically making sure everything is all staying in sync. So if you're not confident, they'll pick up on that, and when you're not confident, they won't be confident. And when they're not confident, they're not ready to make a decision. If you want to be able to make a decision, you need some degree of confidence. And if you're not confident in yourself, if you're not sold on yourself, if you don't believe that you can provide the best experience possible to your clients, they'll pick up on that. Because they'll realize when you're not confident that you're not genuine. Because the one thing that you're there to do to help them, you don't believe you could do it, and they pick up on that, and they say, well, if this person doesn't believe they could do it, why are they here doing it? Why is this person not being genuine? And so that confidence is important, and it goes very, very far. And again, you don't need to know everything. You can borrow your experience. But now what if they ask you a question that you don't know the answer to? How do you know what the next thing to do is? How do you know this? How do you know that? Stick with us. We've got the answer to those questions and more after this quick commercial break. I'm John Christopher. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christman. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. We're here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we put out these videos every single Wednesday, and we've got State of Real Estate on Fridays and all kinds of other little topics that we'd like to pepper in to help you guys achieve your successful real estate career. So again, taking things back to Tampa School of Real Estate, we want to see you succeed. We honestly, genuinely want to see you succeed. That's why we're here weekly. Even if you're not a student of ours, we're here with these videos that we put out for free. And look, this takes time. This takes a lot for us to put these together every week, but we know it will help people. And we know if we help people, that will eventually help us. We help enough people. You could get anything it is that you want if you help enough people get what they want. And that same philosophy that we employ here, you want to employ with your clients because they have goals, they have dreams, they have objectives. Whether they want to buy their first home, or they want to upgrade their home, or they want to purchase a second home, they want a vacation home, they want to be a real estate investor, you have the power to help them realize their dreams if you believe you can do that. Now, at Tampa School of Real Estate, we've got a lot of success stories, so it's not a great example once you already have done what you say you're going to do. So what if you're brand new to real estate and you not have yet done what you say you're going to do? Even just something as simple as maybe you've got a seller, maybe you've got somebody that wants to sell their home and you've never done that before. You've never sold a house. You've never listed a property for sale. How are you confident that you can do this when you've never done it before? Well, it starts with being genuine, number one, and being genuine and honest and direct with yourself. Of, hey, okay, I don't know what to do with a listing, so let me go figure out what I need to do. Look, no matter how much training, how many classes, how many courses it is that you take, nothing teaches better than in the moment because you get to see the real world implications of what you learn. You know, when we talk in theoretical examples of, oh, this could happen or that could happen, it's hard to really kind of to dig your nails into it and really understand it. But when you have a real live transaction in front of you with real live people, things are going to start clicking a lot more. Things are going to make more sense. So as you're learning about these things in the moment, or maybe relearning these things in the moment, maybe you already took a little basic class on listings, or you maybe took your post-licensing course already and you know the basics of how to get a listing, what contracts you need and things like that. So once you know those basics, once you have the plan laid out for you, how do you get the experience? If you've never done a listing appointment before, if you've never convinced a seller to list their property with you, how do you get the experience without going through the experience? Well, you could have the next best thing. You could fake the experience. How do you do that? You role play. So if you're planning on going to visit this seller, to convince them to list their property with you, and you're just shooting from the hip, as they say. What does that mean, to shoot from the hip? Well, that means you're just guessing. You're just improvising. I improvise a lot, but only when I have experience in what I'm talking about or doing. Because if I improvise on something where I don't know what I'm talking about or I don't know what I'm doing, I'll usually make a fool of myself. It's not something personal to me. It'll happen to all of us if we try to act like we're experienced when we're not experienced about something. So again, getting back to the being genuine, being honest, and not just with your clients, but also with yourself, of what your weaknesses are, of what you need to seek out for help, of what you need to understand, what knowledge you need, and then practice the experience. Do a little role play with somebody, whether that's your spouse, your mentor, your broker, just another agent in your office even. Somebody that you could bounce this off of and get some feedback of how this goes. Because if it's a train wreck meeting with your seller, they're probably not going to admit to you that it's a train wreck. They're probably not going to admit to you that you're doing a terrible job. They'll probably just do something like, yeah, we're going to think about it. And then once you leave, they're going to go, whew, yeah, definitely don't want to use them. Whereas if you put yourself in this fake experience of basically simulating this with somebody else, if you say something that doesn't really sound good or something doesn't make sense, you could have somebody give you honest feedback so you're able to practice and kind of start to get the experience so that way you can be confident when you go in there and talk to them. Now, you can't necessarily plan for every possible thing it is that they're going to say, but you could plan what you're going to say. You could plan your responses to maybe some common things that they may object to. Well, what are those common things they may object to? Oh, maybe they're objecting to how much you're charging for commission or what the length of the contract is or how you're going to market the property. Or maybe they're objecting to your experience. Maybe they ask you the question of, hey, have you sold a house before? You gonna lie to them? Are you being genuine? Now, when you find yourself in this situation here, and you're nervous about, oh God, they're asking me, have I ever done this before? And I've never sold a house before. This is all going to come falling apart. This is all going to come crashing down. Look at what's falling away. It's your confidence. So what if you've never sold a house before? It doesn't mean you can't. Everybody has a first house that they sell. Every single agent out there sold their first house at one point in time. But if you're not confident, if you can't at least combat this experience objection or combat the, well, I'm not sure if you're knowledgeable enough objection, you're going to have a hard time picking up that listing. And the same thing goes for buyers when you're working with them as well. It's just usually, I like to frame this around working with a seller and a listing, because with a seller and a listing, you really got to sell yourself and try to close the deal before you have the opportunity to get paid. Whereas with a buyer, it's a little bit easier to kind of fake it because you could just go right into showing them properties and really kind of take the tension off yourself and put that focus on the properties. But even then, you need to have a reputation, because if your buyers find out that you're not being genuine, if you're lying to them about properties or availability or anything like that, or maybe it's not the details that. Maybe you're 100% factual. Maybe if they were to fact check you, you'd be 100% on point every single time. But are you genuinely looking out for their best interest? Are you genuinely there to help them? Are you genuinely looking out for yourself and just trying to get your first sale? And you're going to probably say, well, John, yeah, I'm trying to get my first sale. That's secondary to assisting your clients. Why? Well, because you're not going to be able to force the sale. You cannot force the sale. And if you're trying to force the sale, it's going to come across that you're not genuine, that you're not helping them. And so look, it's not about faking some big reputation. It's not about being able to say that you got a bunch of reviews on Zillow, because they might just say, if they realize, well, you've never sold anything before, so how does anybody even know how good you are? And again, that's now chipping away at your ability to be genuine, because they don't now see you as a genuine person. They see you maybe as a fake. They see you as a fraud. And who wants to trust somebody that's a fake, that's a fraud? They won't. So I know it can be tough, but you've got to own your inexperience. You've got to own your newness. You've got to own your greenness. And now, how is it that you do that? How do you build that reputation when you don't have any reputation to build there? Well, these are the things that we're looking for, regardless of how we come about them. If we could manufacture these things, this by being honest. Now, how do we be honest about not having experience? Yeah, we could role play what we're going to say to them, but now how do we overcome? Do we just lie to them about how many houses we've sold? Well, no, that breaks rule number one. We lie to them, that's going to potentially blow up our trust, if not now, at some point in the future. So you don't want to lay landmines for yourself by lying about things. So how do you confidently answer that question in a genuine way that shows that you still have the knowledge and experience to help them, even if it's borrowed knowledge and experience. So that's what you've got to focus this on, is framing this around what it is that you're borrowing. And not really that you're borrowing, but that it is yours. So whether this is a pitch about your broker or a pitch about your brokerage or the company, and there's really a lot that you could do, especially as you, so one of the mistakes I see a lot of new agents make is they try to go straight to branding themselves and building their own brand and building their own reputation. And to a certain extent, the law does allow for you to market yourself independently. Now, you do have to include your brokerage name in any sort of advertisements, and there's a few other rules that you've got to follow, but generally speaking, you can build your own brand. But if you distance yourself from your brokerage, you're distancing yourself from that knowledge and that experience. So you want to focus on selling your organization if you don't have any knowledge and experience to sell. You've got to focus on that collective knowledge and experience that your organization has, and be confident about that. You need to be confident that when you don't know something, that you're able to get that answer in a timely manner that makes it so it's not an issue, that it's a non-issue, that it's not a problem, that you've never sold a house before because you've got a ton of other people that have sold houses that are there playing on your team, that are all on your side. And again, it's not just the people in your brokerage, it's all the other pieces of the puzzle that play into making this work. And again, that's because you're not doing this on your own. You're not by yourself. And then when we go back to choosing a broker and talking about all that type of stuff, you want to make sure that you've got an organization that's going to be able to fulfill these needs for you. If you're brand new to real estate, you want to make sure they have the resources necessary to help you succeed. Do they have training? Do they have people that have experience that are able to help you? Because that's how you get started. You have to borrow. When you have nothing, if you have no money, the only way for you to get some money is to borrow that money. It works the same way with knowledge and experience. If you don't have knowledge and experience, now you could go and get some knowledge, but you might not have all the knowledge. You might not have the knowledge of somebody who has the experience. So you could borrow that experience. Again, that comes also from your organization. And you could frame your presentation in a way that plants the seeds and almost vaccinates. Don't even know if I should even use that word as a metaphor right now, if it's going to flag this video or anything. But you want to basically prevent it. You want a preventative planted in your presentation, a preventative planted in your pitch that's going to soften the blow of these potential issues, that allows them to take a step back and realize that, okay, this person might not be the most experienced and knowledgeable, but they have people around them that are experienced and knowledgeable. It looks like I'm getting a whole team here. I'm getting a whole organization. It's not just this one person here. And on top of that, they emphasize to me, this is the other selling point when you're brand new, is that, like, yeah, hey, look, I'm new to the real estate industry, but I'm not new to business or whatever, again, your particular pitch is. And I know you might be worried about having somebody that has not sold a house before listing your property for sale, but I want to reassure you that our brokerage and the training program that I've gone through and the policy or whatever, again, your pitch is, you'd want to clean this up. Again, I'm just improvising here. And even when you're knowledgeable about something, you want to be careful about improvising. And that's why you want to lay out maybe a little bit of a script or have some talking points, have some things that you have said before. So that way when you say them again in the actual meeting, it doesn't sound like the first time you're saying something. Because if it's the first time you're saying it, you usually don't sound very confident the first time you say something, especially if it's something you're unsure whether or not you can do. So that's why you want to practice, why you want to role play, why you want to, again, have these things in your holster, these responses to those common objections. Framing yourself as, hey, I could dedicate my time and attention towards you because I don't have a whole plethora of listings. Now, how can you rephrase some of the things that I've said to take these same points and apply them even further? Now, one of the things that I said that thinking back on it I really don't like is you saying, now I've never sold a house before. Well, that's not a good way to say those things. That really emphasizes the fact that you don't have experience, that you don't have knowledge. And so you might say something that directs the attention of how you're saying, and this is where we get really technical here, where you don't want to overthink this because that's going to chip away at your confidence. It's not about saying something exactly right. It's about making sure you're emphasizing the right points. So it's not about memorizing word for word what you're going to say. It's about understanding what points you want to emphasize. So rather than emphasizing the fact that you haven't sold anything yet, you're emphasizing the fact that your brokerage, that your mentor, your broker, whatever support system it is that you have, are very experienced, have many years of experience, many transactions that they've done, and I've gone through their training program, and I have a mentor that's holding my hand, walking me through whatever it is that you have. You got to have something, though, because if you come to them and you say, I've got no experience, and that's all you say, I've got no experience, period, you're probably not going to get the deal. And you don't want to just sit there and complain, well, how am I supposed to get ahead if I don't have any experience? Well, if you don't have any experience, you got to borrow some experience. So find some you've got to borrow. Even if you've got to team up with somebody. Look, find a more experienced agent that knows what they're doing. If you're really lacking in the confidence, get a more experienced agent that knows what they're doing and agree to maybe some sort of commission split with them. That they help you out. A lot of brokerages have mentorship programs that are built on this exact same concept, that they pair you up with somebody who is experienced. Now, granted, they're going to get a percentage of your commission to help you, to share their experience with you. So, because when you borrow something, if you borrow money, you have to pay what? You pay interest on that. So if you want to borrow somebody's experience, there's got to be something in it for them. There's got to be some sort of interest in it for them. So that might be some sort of commission split. I would say the commission split ones are probably a better route, especially for a mentor. There's a lot of like coaching programs and things like that you could join where you just pay monthly for some sort of club you join or something like that, or some sort of trainings. That could be good. That could help you get more experience, but don't expect that person to have a vested interest in you actually doing these things, because they don't have a direct connection to your success, as much of a direct connection as if they basically get a piece of the commission, a percentage of the commission when it actually sells. And that will help make you more confident. Because even if you don't know what you're doing, you know that you've got so-and-so, you've got your broker, you've got all these people, your mentor, other agents in your office, whoever it is that's there to help you. This is what builds the reputation. And this is what you want to convey across all mediums. So when you go to get reviews, you want your clients showing that they're genuine, real clients, that they had a genuine, real experience. And that's why bad reviews could also be good. Bad reviews can be good because it shows that the reviews are genuine, because no one's out there faking bad reviews. Good reviews, they get faked all the time. Bad reviews, those usually are not fake at all. I would say those ones have probably a negative percentage of being fake. So you want and this also comes from your marketing. This comes from everything that showcases your business, that it's genuine, that your team or you are knowledgeable and experienced, that you're confident, not confident in an arrogant, cocky way, but confident in that you know that you could help your clients achieve their goals and dreams. Because if you question your ability to achieve your clients' goals, your clients are absolutely going to question your ability to achieve those goals. And if I were to boil this down to 3 things that are most important for having a reputation, or what really builds a successful reputation, it's these things right here. Genuine, honest, trust, knowledge, experience, confidence. Now, these apply in many different factors, but these are the themes. They're going to make people think more highly of you and your ability to assist them with real estate. And look, now, this keeps it really simple, because this is simple. Now, there's a lot of complicated ways to go about doing this, but it all comes back to these things. It's not just about having golden stars somewhere. It's about conveying this message. And no matter how much that message gets conveyed online, you need to make sure that you are dialed in conveying this message when you directly communicate with them. Because it doesn't matter how good your marketing is if you can't land these things when you're actually speaking with them. And if you're nervous about your ability to do that, practice. The role plays, the simulations of learning what you sound like, learning your flaws. That could be tough, to be honest about what flaws you have, but you're never going to fix them unless you identify them. So record yourself, watch yourself on video, figure out what improvements you want to make, and you'll be surprised at how much more confident you'll sound, how much more knowledgeable and experienced you'll sound, how much more genuine you sound. Now, it's important to be all of these things as well, but it doesn't matter if you are these things if you can't show that you are these things. If you can't show that you're genuine, confident, knowledgeable, and experienced, it doesn't matter how genuine, confident, knowledgeable, and experienced it is that you are. So you also have to practice conveying these, because our body language says a lot. The tone of our voice says a lot. The way we respond to things says a lot. There's a lot of little things there. So until you start actually practicing this, and you don't want to just practice on real live clients, because that'll end in a lot of disappointment, that'll hurt your momentum, that'll make you fall on your face. We don't want that to happen. So practice with somebody, your broker, a mentor, your spouse, somebody you could bounce this off of. Because when you're practicing, you got all the knee pads on. You're protected. You got your helmet, your knee pads, and all that other stuff. So if you fall down, it might hurt a little bit, but it's just practice. Hurts a lot more when it's the real thing and you lose a real deal, especially when you kick yourself because you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have did this. Have all those shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have did that. Get that all out of your system before you actually meet with your client. So look, that's building a reputation. Post-licensing, if you haven't taken our post-licensing course, now if you haven't taken pre-licensing yet, go get your real estate license. But then as soon as you're licensed, get enrolled in the post-licensing course, because this is going to help you open the doors of what possibilities exist in real estate. And not just what exists, but how you go about achieving some of this stuff. How you get a listing, how you market for that, how you present offers. More of the real world side of real estate compared to your pre-licensing that focuses on a lot of laws and rules. So that post-licensing course, it's a requirement for your renewal, and you can take it as soon as you have your real estate license. So if you want to get enrolled from that, or if you need to get your real estate license, we have some great bundle packages that include our post-licensing course as well as our PassFirstTry.com exam prep tools. So if you're interested in any of that, check us out online at tampaschool.com or call us at 813-333-2676. That's 813-333-2676. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have to help you build your dream real estate career. We want to see you succeed, because that's how we succeed. We succeed through you. We accomplish our goals by helping you accomplish your goals. And it's a mutually beneficial system that works really well in real estate as well. So if you like this, type of give and receive type of thing, that's how real estate works as well. You invest in your relationship with your clients, you help them achieve their goals and dreams, and they're going to reciprocate. They're going to give you referrals, they're going to give you repeat business, and that's going to slowly build your reputation, build your business into something you never imagined it could be. So look, that's all the time we've got for today. Again, if you need help, call us 813-333-2676 or check us out online at tampaschool.com. I'll see you guys on Friday for State of Real Estate.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.